All right, one of the biggest names, if not the biggest names in sports media, Pat McAfee, calling out ESPN execs, saying they are intentionally trying to sabotage his show, one exec in particular. And this has been a week marred with controversy. We have Aaron Rodgers calling out Jimmy Kimmel, saying he might or might not be on a certain list that's in the news this week. Lots of pushback from him. And McAfee's always been a firebrand. He's been a brash, loud, uncensored personality since retiring from the NFL and going into the sports media world. And the marriage between him and ESPN always seemed like a weird one. ESPN, corporate structure, they bland down everything. They've been awful sports content for about 10 to 15 years now. So it really didn't make much sense that the two would end up partnered together. But so be it. McAfee, who built a massive following on YouTube with his live daily shows, partners up with ESPN this year. He's on actual TV, and he's done a better job censoring himself. It's still a little rough around the edges as far as what ESPN wants, but ESPN and Disney as a whole have been hemorrhaging money. They've been bleeding cash. They don't know what to do. The ratings are in the tank, so they thought they could bring in a guy like McAfee to maybe change that. And I think that's all McAfee's ever really wanted when he hopped this. He wants to be viewed as a legitimate sports media person. Now, you don't need these corporate stiffs to, justify you or certify you whatsoever. But I think it's something he's kind of wanted. But he had some words to say after a New York Post article calling out the show's ratings, saying he's not worth the money they paid for him. And then he was blunt. He went straight to the point. He said there are folks actively trying to sabotage us within ESPN. More specifically, it's an ESPN vice president. He said Norby Williamson, this guy is attempting to sabotage our program. Now, why is he calling this guy out? He's essentially saying Norby, old Mr. Williamson, has access to information that nobody else seemingly would have. He actively, leaked the ratings that were out 12 hours beforehand, leaked false numbers, he accused, that weren't the actual show's numbers that led to this article from the New York Post. So he's calling it out. And McAfee's not alone. He's getting some backing by some former ESPN employees. Dan Le Batard offered him support, saying he's got to be ready for that ESPN culture shock, that corporate world. Jamil Hill defending essentially McAfee, saying this is how she felt, that Norby Williamson would kill stories. He is not about it. And this breeds back a personal feud the two have. Apparently, McAfee came out and said, I got stood up by this guy in 2018. I went to have a meeting with him. 45 minutes I sat in his office. He no-showed me. So there's bad blood between these two. And it seems like Williamson wants no part of McAfee and his firebrand on ESPN, and now the two are button heads. But you have to wake up, ESPN. You're a garbage network. You've been a garbage sports network for a good amount of time now, and a guy like Pat McAfee is what the world wants. The Barstools, the McAfees of the world, the uncensored, unfettered sports coverage is what the people want. There's reason why he was a massive following, making millions and millions of dollars. They're allegedly paying Aaron Rodgers, Nick Saban $1 million a year just to be on the show weekly. That's a lot of change to be doling out to have visitors. So they are clearly printing money. Barstool, we know about the acquisitions in Penn. This is what people want. People don't want this stuffy on TV nonsense sports radio. They want real. They want raw. They want it how guys are talking, guys or gals, talking at the bar with each other about sports. We want real. We don't want this. We live in a world where independent media, independent journalists are just crushing this corporate stuffy nonsense in the ratings because we want real. We don't want fake. So again, this is a marriage that never seemed like it was ever going to work out. I can't imagine McAfee is going to stay on ESPN much longer. The stiffs up there don't want to have this. They kind of hate this, but I have to imagine the ratings were pretty good. The ratings were wrong. McAfee was right. They did lie about the ratings. They pushed out the ratings are better than what they said. But ESPN needs a guy like this. They got to adapt or they're going to die. The numbers don't lie. ESPN, bad. They're not able to get subsidized from Disney anymore like they used to. Disney used to print money. Disney no longer prints money. So they are bleeding. They've never made money at ESPN essentially for the last 20 or 30 years, and now they can't get subsidized by other money-making projects at Disney. Obviously, the pandemic had something to do with that. other decisions are really impacting this. So I think ESPN might actually be on the way out. Maybe it's just game coverage. Maybe they do just have the TV rights, because the TV rights are still king. Ratings came out of 2023. 93 of the top 100 view shows were all NFL games. ESPN obviously has the Monday Night Football and the playoff games for them, so they're in on that. The other 3 games were college football. ESPN getting the SEC this upcoming season. That should be a big bump into the ratings, but they got to figure this thing out. You don't want to have a guy like Pat McAfee, who's one of the most popular guys in sports media, basically saying ESPN is shit and this guy is trying to destroy my show. You don't want to have a demographic of fans that completely hate your guts, and this is how it's going to be. It's been a busy week for McAfee. He's got a lot on his plate. I don't envy his situation, but this is just a epitome of the culture clash between corporate sports stuffiness, media coverage, and independent, high out there, what the people want journalism. It's a real clash, and it's gonna come to a head, I think. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you on McAfee's side? Do you like that kind of sports coverage? Raw, uncensored? I hope you kind of like that. That's what I try and give a little bit to you guys within certain strengths. Or are you just, I want, cut down talk shows, boring stuff that ESPN gives you. I mean, ESPN is crap. If you want something more like ESPN, go watch Fox Sports. So much better. Their lineups are so much better. So much better to watch. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Again, if you haven't already, click that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We got new sports content every single day. If you want to support me more, click that join button, join the channel membership. You get access to exclusive content, early access to videos, badges, emojis, things to use during the live streams throughout the year. Really helps me out, allows me to keep making this great content for you guys every single day. Again, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.